fight. We don't have to kill. Everybody in the whole wide world really just needs to chill. No, we don't have to fuss, no, we don't have to fight.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Just Chill with Oliver George. This is episode 81. It has been a hot minute since we've done one of these, and I couldn't be more excited about my guest. But before we get into it, I want to remind you, if you're watching on YouTube and you would prefer audio only for whatever reason, you can get that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and other places like that. If you were listening to me on one of those platforms, though, and you didn't realize that there was a visual side to this show, please come check it out here on YouTube. While you're doing that, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, it would really mean a lot to me. You obviously don't have to, but I would appreciate it. All the support I've gotten from anyone along the way, or if you're just jumping now, it really does mean a lot to me, so thank you very much. If you'd like to reach out to me, maybe you've got a cool guest idea or some general feedback about the show, you can do that on social media or hit me up at justchillpodcasting@gmail.com. While you're doing that, let me know if you have interest in one of these holofoil stickers with the show's logo, and I will send you one free of charge. Whew. That's all the hard part out there. As I mentioned, it's been a while. It's been about a month since we put up a new episode, even longer, I think, since I've recorded one. I did get COVID for a second time with my youngest son, so that was a large part of it. Plus, I went to the cottage for a bit pre-COVID, so, it's been summer vibes a little bit, but I could not be more excited about my guest. Although before I enter him, I did want to say I will be at Yuck Yucks on August 10th, which I believe is a Wednesday, for the Mike McDonald Summer Comedy Competition. So if you want to see me come sing some silly songs, then I would really appreciate the support. Now, back to the guest that I have already alluded to, a very, very funny man. Speaking of competitions, he is a Sirius Top Comic winner.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Yuck Yucks Ottawa, he just co-headlined a weekend of shows there with his equally hilarious wife, Julia Hladkowicz.
Nailed it.
I did have to write down phonetically, and I felt a little bad about that until I realized that was the name of one of her albums.
Hladkowicz.
Yeah, so that took the pressure off a bit. Anyways, it's Matt O'Brien.
Hello. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for saying equally as well. She's especially going to enjoy that part. Equally hilarious.
Well, I find you both very funny.
Thank you very much. No, it's great to be here. Thanks so much for having me. Great radio cadence on that. That's
really?
What
Thank
an
you.
intro. God, this
Thank
is
you, man.
already professional as hell. No uhs, no ahs. You know
It's
what I
because
mean?
I speed through it. I always feel like they're going to hear my breath in between.
Yeah. No.
It's easier to just get it out.
Not to get in your head or anything.
No,
About
I'm
this,
always
but
in my own head. It's fine.
So far, so good.
Can only go downhill from here. So I actually first wanted to ask you, well, you know what? First, let's talk about you guys recording your album, because that's very recent. I did want to not miss that. Was this were you both on stage at the same time, or are you doing sort of a double album?
Number one question everyone asks, the fact that being married to a comedian, everyone always asks that. They're like, you on the stage at the same time? You like razzing each other? Like, some old...
It would be,
People want that, though. And honestly, we might start doing that. Like, even last night at our show, they're like, what are you going to do, 20 minutes each? And then you're going to go on stage at the same time and do like a Q&A? I'm like, would you want that? And like a lot of audience members were like, yeah, we'd love to talk to you. So, no, our albums were separate. We did 30 minutes each kind of thing. And... which is crazy. We were going to do like a 45-minute hour album, but we're like, we're just throwing this on Sirius XM just to make some extra money kind of thing. And so we'll just do an extra 30 minutes.
So they won't be released as like a cohesive thing?
It'll be
like
individual albums.
Okay, cool.
But that's the thing. It doesn't matter because we don't make money from album sales. We only make money from like royalties on satellite radio, which is the only reason we're doing it. So we'll pull random tracks from it. We have to release it as an album, but we don't care about that.
Oh, interesting.
So, but we'll throw it
An
out
exposure of any kind is always good. You never know who might hear it.
It's fun to do an album and get artwork and have fun with it kind of thing. But it's it turned out really well. Which is crazy because this album was created. My material was created over Zoom, basically over the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
So I was thinking about that when I was like hashing out this set. I was like, oh yeah, I started doing these jokes on Zoom.
And it was the first time kind of doing a lot of them in front of a large audience?
Yeah, well, eventually things opened up in LA and I was doing it down there, which is also crazy to me. So I'm like, this is the product of material created on Zoom and in LA, and I'm recording it in Canada. So it was weird.
I'm glad to hear it went well, though.
It went well.
Bar, right?
Comedy bar, yeah. Just the cabaret
Shout out to
space. Yeah, best venue in Canada, I think, absolutely. Also, a lot of Americans think it's the best venue in North America. I don't know, but it's very, very, it's the best. It's just a great crew of people, great rooms. I don't even work there. They're paying me $0 to say all of this.
I believe it. No,
Yeah.
it's a very well-respected establishment.
It's fantastic.
My dad and I were actually talking about how the couples on stage thing was a little more prominent back in the heyday of Hollywood. You know, like you mentioned Ben Stiller's dad and his wife as well.
Yeah,
They were
George Burns and
that was the other one my dad brought up. And
Yeah.
what was
Burns and Allen.
That's right.
Tracy Allen.
Yeah.
And Stiller and Mira.
And there's people like Natasha Leggero and Moshe Kasher.
I was going to say they're the ones bringing it back, kind of thing.
They do it in like more of a podcast thing, usually, I believe.
I think so. They also do like couples advice kind of thing, which is interesting. But we should try it out. We hosted a comedy show in LA at a bar where we hosted it together, and people enjoyed that.
I mean, I think that you guys are obviously in love, and I think that chemistry is palpable for an audience, you know, and an enjoyable thing to hitch onto.
People are just fascinated that two comedians are married, especially.
And that it's like not crumbled somehow.
Yeah, it is working somehow. Even though I'm just like, we always look at each other and we're like, why can't one of us have a normal job, for God's sake? Why can't one of us be an accountant or something? But it's, no, it's great.
It's worked out beautiful.
We're making it work, so.
All right, well, and you guys have a podcast together now, right?
We do a podcast literally called "Is This What You Want?" because people wanted us to do something together. We're like, "Fine, is this what you want?" kind of thing.
Oh,
like,
I thought it was more in reference to just like how many podcasts are out there now, and like,
yeah,
you know,
kind of. It's just a blanket thing, and also like trying to figure out what the hell to do with trends and TikTok and like everything. It's like, well, what the hell do people want? I don't even know what people want anymore. And as we get older, like we're not that old, but it's like we try to. You feel like you're losing touch about what people.
Oh, I'm right there.
Want,
with
you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So
No, and it's not only that like I don't know how to do the TikTok or be super amazing on Instagram, but I also don't fucking care. Like on a base level, I'm like, oh, it's just not worth the energy. I don't have that.
Honestly, the same way. I'm just like, I actually don't care anymore. Like when Vine came out, I cared about that.
Yeah,
I
that was our TikTok.
I
Yeah.
tried, and then when it got deleted, and I'm like, I had like 50,000 followers on it. I'm like, oh, they're just all gone. All that work is just
What's
gone.
to stop that from happening again?
That's the same. So I've been burned once, and I
fool me once kind of thing.
I can't have it happen to me again.
I was
So-
wondering actually if you had pivoted to more of the social media thing, because when I was on your website, it was like tour dates, then March 2020, nothing further.
Yeah. Also, I stopped caring about my website. I'm like deleting that whole thing. I'm like, no one goes to a fucking website anymore.
It's true. Yeah, I was sort of thinking that. It was a very nice website, but
Yeah.
they are kind of a dated idea in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
At least for comedy.
I know. It's interesting because you did see it, so someone's going to it. But I'm going to delete that, I think.
I mean, there's the argument that it doesn't do any harm leaving it up.
It doesn't do any harm, but I'm getting a lot of spam, a lot of like.
Okay. Just more of a hassle.
Yeah. So it's just annoying. But
Okay, well, I wanted to start right at the beginning of your life because maybe this was just a bit.
1985. It was a blustery March day.
Are you born in 85?
I am.
Oh, same here.
Oh, shit.
I'm December, though.
Yeah, well, here we are.
Right on. Okay, I didn't know we were the
made
same
it.
age. I was wondering. So I don't know if this is a bit or not, but I saw something you did on stage where you said that you grew up on a goat farm. I
did.
This is actually real. Okay.
100%. Yeah.
So what is the journey from the goat farm to the comedy stage?
Long and weird. I don't know. It's from age 9 until 18, I was on a goat farm outside of London, Ontario, in a town called Thorndale.
Oh wow!
And then we moved there to Peterborough, Ontario. And then I like literally like left my high school graduation in London. My parents were like, "Get in the van, we're going to Peterborough." I'm like, "I don't want to go." Like I couldn't not go with them. And then so I had to go to Peterborough. And then from there, I'm like, I didn't know what the hell I was doing with my life. And then I went to college in Oshawa, Ontario.
Toronto, right?
Yeah, terrible town. But
Shout out to Oshawa.
yeah, terrible. I mean, they know. Like the nickname for that town is the Dirty Schwa, is what locals will call it. Like it's the only town I've been to where everyone's just like, "Hey, we're pieces of shit. We love it here, and we're pieces of shit." And because it's just like a big there's a GM factory there, so a bunch of auto workers are there. I worked at a Red Lobster there for a bit, so I saw
Like a
the real
blue-collar kind of sound.
yeah, very blue collar. And
You were coming from a farm, so you.
yeah, and it was still like, honestly, the first time I moved to a city and I was like, oh my God, I can walk to a McDonald's. Like that blew my mind. There was the little things that really like
It must be
excited
quite
me.
the transition.
It was a
really.
crazy transition.
And you guys had only goats?
We had goats, chickens, horses, ducks, pigs, and then we had peacocks at one time.
So what makes it a goat farm then?
Because the goats outnumbered them all.
Okay, they were the most prominent species.
We had like 40 goats. The cats were getting up there. We'd have like 30 barn
Cat
cats.
farm
at one
sounds
point.
weird, though.
So it was like a battle of the cats and goats, like who's going to outbreed the other ones. But it was
Cat farm. That sounds
cat farm. You can't sell on paper. That's you're not. No one wants to come to a cat farm.
sounds like an illegitimate cover business for like a meth.
Yeah,
lab
come to
or
my cat farm. Yeah.
And was there a good goat, the greatest goat of all time?
They were all pretty good. I mean, they were all very nice goats. Just a hilarious upbringing too. It's just you don't like. That's the thing. I think back. I'm like, man, if I had TikTok back then, I'd be like blowing up. Just like taking videos of what the stupid shit that goats do. Like, it's
They're pretty entertaining.
they're pretty entertaining. And the worst part about living on a goat farm, I loved it, but I got bullied in high school. People called me goat fucker. For no reason.
Going to say goat boy or something.
I
Goat
wish it
fucker's
was Goat Boy. But I remember because my sister, I was going into high school and my sister was like, heads up, people have been calling me Goat Fucker for no reason, just because I live on a goat. And I'm like, but did you fuck a goat? I'm like, she didn't. But so I get to high school and all the seniors are like, hey, this is Goat Fucker now.
Goat fucker junior.
Yeah. And I'm like, but I don't. Like, give me a break. And then so like all through high school, it wasn't like intense, but like once every couple of months, some shithead would come up and be like, goat fucker. And I'd just be like, no. And then it would
Pretty
stop.
bad on the spectrum of nicknames. It's pretty shitty.
Yeah, it definitely stuck for a little bit. Around grade 12, it faded out, but it really stuck with me. And I remember just being like, but goats are hilarious. Like,
Why would I fuck one?
Why would I fuck one? Why are you making fun of me for this? Like, if maybe you should hang out with these goats. They're fun.
I was going to say, probably a lot of the ladies might have liked to pet some baby goats.
That's
and
what
come
I
to the farm.
mean. Yeah, I mean, first time I brought my high
Why do I
school
say the
girlfriend.
ladies?
over,
I
the
would love to go
ladies. Yeah,
pet baby goats.
dude, it's fun.
Yeah.
But it was, that was a weird backfire that I never could have predicted.
I'm glad you shared it here.
I know. I thought I
Hope
was
you're
just an
working through.
interesting farm boy, but no, these city kids, I tell you, they're ruthless.
Just so does that ever happen if you ever go back to town? Someone's just like, hey, go fucker.
Now that I've somewhat made it in the entertainment industry, it's no. I actually got a message from one of the main guys that used to bully me, and because I was on this show, Odd Squad, which is like,
yes, I read about this.
and
It's
kids
like a
love
kid
it.
show, yeah.
But it's so popular, I had no idea. And he direct messaged me. He goes, hey, man, I hope you're well. My kid saw you in Odd Squad. He's a huge fan of yours. I'm proud of you, man. And I'm thinking back, I'm like, fuck you. Like, you used to be a huge piece of shit to me. Oh, I'm great. I get to entertain your stupid kid. But so I
So
didn't.
he didn't say like sorry about the goat fucker stuff.
No, it's like almost like he blocked it out.
Or he was trying to just imply it. Like this
Maybe.
nice message means that I'm not that guy anymore.
It would have been funny if he was like, hey, goat fucker, congrats. Then I'd be like, that's funny.
Or the other way around. He says all that stuff and then he's just like, my son, goat fucker, really loves your show.
I named my son after you.
Did a total 180 there.
He loves you.
So I gathered, correct me if I'm wrong, that you got into comedy around 2008?
2007.
Okay, close.
Technically, it's hard to say. It's like when do you say you started? Because I did one set, and then I didn't do another set for like 6 months.
That's me still.
Yeah, but then I would do sets like every couple months because I would drive from Oshawa to Toronto, which is like a 45-minute drive, and just go like hang out at the back of shows and try to figure out how the hell. Because it wasn't like a lot of social media back then, so you kind of had to actually physically go to these places and talk to people and figure out how to
Soak
work
it in,
this.
yeah.
And then I was finally like, yeah, I'm going to move to Toronto and do this. And then that was like 2008, 2007 kind of thing.
And it was right away after you had a few good sets, you kind of just got addicted.
Yeah, I did amateur night at Yuck Yucks, and in my head, I'm like, I killed. And then I looked back at the recording and I fucking bombed big time. But I was just so into it. I was just like, I finally realized what the hell I want to do with my life. Because at the time I was in journalism school. Okay. And I was like, do I want to work in broadcast or whatever? And I was also interning at MTV Canada. Oh, nice. So I was like kind of in Toronto already. And
I was going to say, because I noticed later years, 2011, I say, is the earliest I saw you were starting to do a lot of stuff with Much.
Yeah.
Was that, I'm guessing, an extension of the MTV stuff? Or
kind of. The way I got in with Much Music is actually crazy. It's I was still in journalism, and we took a tour of the Much Music building. And I'd done stand-up twice, I think. And like a big cheese, I got business cards made. I had a MySpace. I did everything already. Like out of the gate, I'm like, I'm a comedian. And
like, Dane Cook, call me now. I'm ready.
Seriously, it was a bit real. I wish I was that ballsy still, but I was in the audience for Much on Demand. And the host, Matt Babel, I gave him my business card. I said, hey, Matt Babel. I was like, I'm a comedian. I'd love to do video on trial someday. And he goes, well, the producer's right here. You can talk to him right here.
Shit.
And then so the producer started talking to me. He's like, do you have any videos? I'm like, yeah, my MySpace, my one video of my second stand-up set. And then he watched it. He goes, "That's pretty good." He's like, "We filmed this Saturday. Come on in."
No way.
And I literally booked, which at the time, Video on Trial was like one of the biggest shows on TV.
Yeah, I remember it even in much earlier years.
Yeah, and then I just got in, and
That's so cool.
to the chagrin of all the comedians in the city who've been clamoring to get on that show. Like so many comics came up to me and they're like, "Who the fuck are you?" And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. Like, I don't know how I got on this.
You know, it just works out that way sometimes.
You got to be bold.
Right place, right time.
Yeah,
and-
especially like in your early days. I mean, and I'm still trying to keep that boldness going. Like it's just asking for things, and then sometimes you get it. If you don't get it, who cares? You got to keep going.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just being bold.
And I'd also noticed that so many other funny comedians came from Video on Trial, or at least had some roots there. Like Lauren Ash was in a lot of the videos.
Yeah,
and
Deb DiGiovanni was a good friend of mine, and Darren Rose, and Eddie Del Sepe was a good friend. Yeah, it's they all just kind of Ron Jossel too. It's like everyone that came out of that became something kind of thing.
But at that point, Much Music was just Much, and it was starting to take. I think they had sold off to Bell or something, right?
Yeah,
it was not really playing music videos.
They weren't playing music videos, and then everything started just falling apart from the inside, kind of thing. And then they signed me on as a creator, which is like a digital creator kind of thing in their
Making
creator
shorts
program.
and stuff?
Making shorts because they saw me on Vine of all places, and then they were like, "You can come in and use any of our studios to film anything you want," kind of
right.
thing. And I was like, "Fuck, this is great." But then it was cool. But then you get in there and you're like, "Oh, they're empty because no one works here anymore." This is like the empty shell of what used to be. It was really weird, but I had a couple good years, and they threw me on red carpets and stuff, and I interviewed people.
Well, you did a lot of man on the street stuff in like 2016. There was a few I saw where you were crashing this or that.
Yeah, they threw me into TIFF and stuff like that, and like
Santa Claus Parade.
Santa Claus Parade, yeah. And that was like right before I left for LA too, and I was like, should I leave? Like this is going pretty well up here.
That's
I'm pretty
a sweet gig. Yeah,
I honestly had like a real comfortable career up here, so it's kind of psycho to think, be like, yeah, let's fuck all that up and start again.
Well, there is sort of a known vibe of people talking about how Canada has sort of like a ceiling.
That's what I hit.
Reach, and then it's like
Yeah.
you either enjoy that and be okay with that, or you have to go to the States at that point.
That's exactly what
or
happened.
the UK potentially. Or,
Yeah,
you know.
and I felt that too, and I'm like, I don't want to fizzle out. Like my biggest fear was, and I talked to so many comics, they're like, oh, I wish I went to LA, but now I'm 60 and I have 4 kids and I can't, and like they're like, do it now. It was like Ghosts of Christmas Past.
Give
like
it the college try at least. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and
You were married at the time already? You got
Yes.
married March of 2016?
Yes.
Did I do my research?
Yeah. Oh my God. You really nailed it. What are you, Nardwar? Jesus.
Oh, I'm trying my best. Yeah. So you guys were married when you moved down there,
Yeah.
and was she in the same boat at the same time, having like a lot of success? I
Same
mean, Julia,
thing,
of course.
Yeah, she also, because we both had done Just for Laughs a whole bunch, and like we were doing commercials, and we were trying to crack into TV, but it was mostly Americans booking all the roles that we were up for. They would swoop in from America because Canadians worship Americans. They're like, oh, I can't believe an American came all the way up here for little old us.
Yeah.
So we kept seeing that, and we were like, it's the same thing. She's like, yeah, let's shake it up and give it a shot. And it is amazing how much more respect you get as an entertainer when they're like, oh, you're in from LA? Oh my God. Like,
Oh, really? Yeah,
I
I
could be
suppose.
living in a shed down there, but like, oh, he's killing it down there. I'm not, by the way, but
Well, you're still down there years later, so you must be doing okay.
I'm doing fine. Yeah, it's going well. Thank
Well, I
God.
saw both of you guys on Conan giving high fives, post-coital high fives to your cat under the bed.
Yeah, that was a real highlight. That was crazy.
What year would that have been?
That was our second year in LA, I think. So
Okay.
yeah, that was
2017 or something.
probably 3 or 4 years ago. But a friend of ours, Levi McDougall, is one of the writers there, and he's a Canadian fella. Can't believe I said it that way. But yeah, it's he would just call us out of the blue and be like, "Do you want to be in a sketch in Conan?" And we're like, "Yeah, of course." Like we're around, so we did it a few times. He wrote us into sketches, and
I'm assuming you were probably a massive fan of Conan already.
I'm an enormous fan.
Okay, you have a similar kooky energy.
Yeah, he's absolutely like one of my number one influences
Same
for
here,
sure.
yeah.
It's and
Just as a host, he's such a great host.
as a host, and I look at his career and I'm like, that's the career I want. That's exactly the show I would do. And that was my number one goal, to do stand up on Conan. So like now that it's not a show, I was like in contact with the booker, and I was like kind of working on things, but at least I got to do sketch on it, which was
Potentially you
fun.
could get on his podcast one day. You know?
Oh my God, yeah, that would be insane. But
You did get to meet him during that experience, though?
yeah, we met a few times, and it's also his head writer's name is Matt O'Brien.
I saw that on IMDb
So I
when
finally
I was
met
looking it up,
him, And I see him. We both know what each other look like, and we saw each other. We're like, there he is. Because at one point, our IMDb's were the same page.
Oh, because it just got muddied together.
Because it got muddied together, and it used to say head writer for Conan. He used to write for SNL, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Then it would be like video on trial, and then just for laughs, and like all my credits would come in. So one time I got booked on a gig in a small town in Ontario, and I showed up, and the booker's like, "Wow, I can't believe we got the head writer for Conan." I'm like, "Yep,
yeah,
that's me. Please give me the check now."
Yeah. No further questions. Oh man, that's hilarious. I also wanted to talk to you. Actually, I did not want to forget to talk to you about. You did a talk show of your own.
Yeah,
late night talk show on a subway.
That's right.
And you did this about 2 years on and off, 2014 to 2016. I'm hoping you're going to bring it back.
Me too.
COVID's changing, easing up a bit. You know, I don't know if you saw these, Dad, but he was actually just hosting a little. I mean, you didn't do full length.
No, they were like 4 or 5 minute episodes, and I
had Scott Thompson from Kids in the Hall.
Yeah, I had some pretty decent. Ennis Esmer was on it, and
the one with all the comedians was hilarious.
Oh yeah, that was a real. That was a real risk, but it was just a stupid thing because Canada doesn't have a talk show, so I was like, I'll make my own, but I don't have a set. And then I was sitting on the subway with a friend, and I was like, these seats kind of look like a talk show, and then and then it would do it, and it's funny how like. It was guerrilla style, so I didn't get any permits or anything. And like, anytime the TTC people would see me, they'd see me like miking up, putting a blazer on with a camera guy, and they'd always be like, "You're not going to film anything, are you?" And we'd be like, "No."
You're still better than the random homeless guy pissing in the corner.
That's what I think, and I could see in their faces, they're like, the amount of paperwork and calls I would have to make versus whatever the fuck you're doing. Like, just do it and don't. Just do it quietly.
And I saw the credits you had, like lighting provided by the TTC.
yeah. So it was really fun, and like people really enjoyed it, and
a legit intro too. It looked very professional.
Yeah, my buddy Dave Dunville, who now works for he works for like a big Technicolor company, like a big production company. But he has all this amazing equipment, and he would. I used to work with him when I worked at Apple, and he has like these crazy expensive cameras, and he's like, I don't know, I'm a camera guy, I have nothing to film, I'm not creative, and he's like, you be the guy, tell me what to film, and I'd be like, the Subway Talk Show, let's do this, and he'd be on board with it.
Well, you got to get the right guy for that.
Yeah, he was great. He was great. He's the best.
Get that concept. Right?
Yeah.
I really hope you bring it back, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I throw to my dad, see if he's got a question for the guest. You told me you had a couple, right?
It'd be great if he's like, not one.
It's happened once or twice.
I've actually got, I had 2. Now I've got 3.
It's also when I turn my vape on and check my notes.
The first question is the easiest of all. You know, did you eat the peacocks?
No, we didn't. We thought about it. I mean, we definitely looked it up, and there's not a lot of meat on those things.
Oh.
That's the thing.
All feathers.
Yeah, they're all. We did collect the feathers, and we
People
sold.
eat the eggs, don't they?
Hey, do they? I mean, you can eat any eggs
thinking
out
an
there, I
ostrich,
think.
maybe.
But yeah, we know they mostly just walked around our property and just didn't bother anything. That's the thing with peacocks; they're low maintenance. They just kind of wander around.
The thing, I was watching some of your stuff again, 15, 16-ish, a lot of your green screen stuff and all that. But there's this guy. He was in Adam Duritz's Bargain Land.
Yeah.
And another place, I think he was called Rodrigo.
Rodrigo Fernandez Stoll.
Right.
Yeah.
So why does he have a panda head tattooed on his arm?
You know, I've been very good friends with him for so long, and I've never asked. I think he just likes it. Man, I should text him.
I was really hoping to get the answer to that. It's
Me
fucking
too.
bugging me. Yeah.
God, why don't I know
Think
that?
he would get back to you if you texted him quick or not?
I should right now, actually. Yeah.
I got another easy question for you anyways.
Yes.
I wanted to say you have fantastic teeth.
Oh, Jesus. Thank you.
I noticed that. I don't know. Did you notice that in the
These
video?
are Hollywood teeth, right?
Well, this is what I was going to ask. Is this a product of the move to LA, or did you always just have great oral hygiene?
No, I just like my teeth. I don't know.
Lifetime flosser?
Yeah, I had pretty good dental benefits up here, and I really took advantage of it. So
Stocked up before you
Good
left.
genetics.
yeah, and I mean, my bottom teeth are crooked old chiclets, but because my parents could only afford braces on the top. But I told him, I don't care. Those are the showmen.
The smiley.
Yeah, the smiley boys. I'm on a podcast, and they're asking why you have a panda tattoo.
I wanted to say just to, while you're doing that, to my audience, if you want to check out some of his specials, they both have hilarious names, the ones I wrote down here. Live in a basement in front of 20 people, and subsequently live in a comedy club in front of 150 people.
Yes, both are true.
I'm guessing the next one will be live in front of 300 people in a theater, or 1,000 maybe?
Was the plan until I did it in not that many people. I was going to keep it going, and I was like, I thought it would create more of a buzz. I thought more people would be like, this is cool. But I felt like no one really gave a shit. So I was like, nah, I don't know. I might. Maybe if I do a theater, I'll name it something like that. But do. I caught that. I caught that as well.
Yeah, that was, I don't know why I went for that. Super low-hanging child fruit. We were just talking to my 5-year-old son about your skit featuring poo-poo and pee-pee. Dude, we've watched that so many times this week. We should bring up all your green screen stuff because you are a master of the green screen.
Oh, thank you.
When did you first start dabbling in green screen? And before we do, actually,
I
wanted to give you, I probably got a crazy head here, the opportunity to
my God.
Post-production if you want to add some stuff to this hat.
Yes.
And but when did you first start fucking around with green screens? And I wanted to know if you had a favorite skit that you've done.
Before I answer that, Rodrigo just got back to me. He said, when I was in my early 20s, everyone said I reminded them of a panda. So it was an excuse to get a tattoo.
Nice, simple, straightforward answer.
Yeah. That's
no mystery there at all, really.
I'm shocked. I've known this guy over 10 years, and I was shocked that it took me this long to ask him that. I started green screening, oh, God, was it almost 10 years ago? I've always been fascinated about the process. I like even like watching like the weather. I'm just like, how are they doing that? How do they do that? How was the process? And I always thought it was so complicated. And then when I finally got Final Cut Pro, and then I realized you just drag and drop a keyer in there just to key out that color.
You're making clean edits though, where you're like riding your dog with your legs split.
Yeah,
like it doesn't look.
But it's all like trial and error. It's all just learning how the lighting and how to do it properly. And it's just me fucking up and fixing it, and just hours and hours and hours of work. It's
But
crazy.
It's enjoyable for you.
Yeah, I really genuinely enjoy it because growing up, I always wanted to make videos, but video cameras, back in the 80s when we were kids, impossible to get.
Camcorders and shit.
Camcorders, and then the tape, and you got to buy the editing deck, and you got to do everything. So then finally, when iPhones started to get beefy, and then I got the editing software, I was like, I can do this now. Finally, I can do this. So it's just something I just genuinely enjoyed. And especially when like the pandemic kicked in too, and I lost all of my gigs and all of my work. And then they're like, live shows are gone forever. Like, I'm like, well, this is all I have.
You can throw yourself into it fully.
Yeah. And I just went into it real hard. And
I'm glad you did. I've gotten some huge gut laughs from both yours and Julia's videos, and some of your joint videos as well. Anyone who hasn't seen their stuff, your socials will come up at the beginning of the episode, but I'll put Julia's up too if you want.
That'd be great.
Because I think everyone should check out their Instagram pages, their YouTube, if you want a good laugh.
Yeah.
Some really, I don't know how to describe your humor. Very kooky, I would say, zany.
Yeah,
kind
kooky,
of,
zany, goofy, stupid. Yeah.
Non sequitur kind of silliness. I love it though.
Just desperately trying not to be hacky or I don't know. I just want to make something that you're like, wow, I've never seen that before. Yeah. Kind of thing.
So still staying with these because my wife and I were watching them and she had a question. She said like the videos are very creative and / playful, which is nice, right? And she was wondering about do you have a methodology or a process to be this creative, or do they just spring unbidden from within?
That's very poetic. I would say springing is the way it happens. And I've told my wife this too. I'm like, I think of an idea and I immediately act on it. I don't hesitate, and it helps that now, like I live in a house I have a room that's a green screen room. So I'm like, I think of an idea. I'm like, shit, I'll do that right now. I go in there, everything's all set up. I do it. And then I get cracking, I edit it. And my wife will see me editing and I'm obsessive over it. Like I won't eat. I won't do anything. I'll forget to eat. I'll just like, I'll edit. Yeah. I'll be like editing for like 10 hours. And she's like, you gotta step away for a second. And I'll be like, I can't, like I'm obsessed over it kind of thing. But it really does spring. And then there are days where I feel like I'm like, oh, I haven't released a video in a while. And I just haven't thought of anything, but I'm patient and I'm like, it'll come to me. I'm sure. go for a run. I'll meditate. I'll do something.
And do you still have, I need to know, an anonymous relationship with your upstairs neighbor, or have you actually kind of had to say hi and all?
No, that
was it? Okay.
100%. I did film that first neighbor video in an actual apartment, and that was just like a fantasy of mine. I was like, oh, I wish I could hijack their Bluetooth speaker. And then I was like, I wonder if I can edit the audio to make it sound like it's next door.
It's
and then
muffled.
It's muffled. So I tinkered around with it. And then, 19 million people on TikTok believed it. and that was like,
I totally thought it was genuine.
Everyone thought it was real, which was crazy. And then, I made follow-ups and everyone was just like, you got to see these names. Like everyone just kept believing it.
Whatever works.
Yeah. Out of like tens of thousands of comments, there were maybe honestly one person that was like, this is not real. And I'd be like, you nailed it. It's not. But nobody else would believe me. I'd even tell people it's not real, and they'd be like, "No, it's real."
And Julia even worked that into her act. I saw a bit she did, and she's talking about how you manned up one night, went out and told them off, and that was like the best sex ever.
That story is true. We used to live above an old man that would like have these like cottage parties in his apartment. He'd be blasting like patio lanterns at like 3 a.m.
Shout out to Kim Mitchell, past guest of the show.
Oh, yeah, was he actually?
Yeah, well, via Zoom, but yeah.
Oh my God, Jesus, what a connection. And I did yell at this man, and she heard me, and she was like, "It was the hottest thing ever," and it was that was true. That was we've had issue with noise, and like me growing up on a farm, going back to farm, like I'm used to complete silence. So living in a city, when I hear these crazy noises or I hear people being somewhat disrespectful to other people's surroundings, I'm just, I can't handle it. And Julia's very sound sensitive as well. So are we nightmare neighbors? Maybe. But we're quiet as hell. Like that's the thing. We're respectful, and we just want other people to be respectful too. So
that's decent.
Yeah,
I also would have thought that goats would have been super loud and chickens and all that. But
the peacocks were the loudest ones.
Yeah, fair.
Like every morning.
Gets
it
you up
sounded
like a
crazy.
rooster,
Yeah, you're just like,
yeah.
Jesus, what jungle part of Jurassic Park?
But it's a
am I
different
in?
kind of noise.
Yeah, but just like, the city noise and everything, and like bass. Oh, I hate bass.
Yeah, well,
just like through a wall.
Especially
like,
when you're stopped at a light and somebody's just like,
oh, I hate that. Yeah, the rattling car next to you. So,
did you feel the same about privacy when you moved from the farm to the city?
Yeah, it was
claustrophobia
just
and sort of
jarring. Yeah, I did find it exciting. I remember the first time I found out like Toronto had a Subway. I had no idea. Like it's not a Subway sandwiches, but an actual like like an actual subway train. I was like, oh my God, you can zip around underground. I can't believe this. But yeah, just being around that many people was crazy to me, and always just being like aware of what you look like or where you're looking. Like when I first moved to Toronto, I remember I would like look people in the eyes, and I didn't know I was doing it until people would be like, what the fuck are you looking at? And I'm like, just people. I'm just looking at other humans that live in the same city. I'm sorry, I had to stop. So then I started just staring at my feet and walking around.
Oh, it must be surreal at first.
It was weird,
It's like I only see this many people in movies.
Yeah, exactly.
But you've adjusted at this point. Now you're in LA. It must be the exact opposite, even more busy than you were.
It is and it isn't. LA, I mean, they nickname it the loneliest, biggest city in the world because you're in your car. You're not really walking or you're not really close to a lot of people until
not like New York or something.
Not like New York or anything. But yeah, until you're in restaurants and bars and stuff like that. But it is, it can be weird because you still have to actively go out and see people in LA because everyone drives everywhere and everyone kind of lives so far away and everything. That's like even driving here. Like it took me 20 minutes. I'm like, I think normal people would be like, oh my God, 20 minutes. But I'm like, LA, I'm like driving 45 minutes anywhere.
It's pretty standard.
So I'm just like, who cares?
20 minutes ain't so bad.
20 minutes ain't nothing.
I always usually offer to pick people up if they don't have a ride.
Oh, that's nice.
Like that. You guys got a dog. That dog we were talking about, Shangela, named after the famous drag queen.
Absolutely.
Almost a year ago, so I wanted to ask you what have been the pros and the cons of owning this little pup so far.
Oh my God! I mean,
maybe there are no cons. I don't know.
The pros are I'm deeply in love with this dog. I had I clearly had like emotional issues because like I am crazy about this fucking dog. I worry about her all the time.
You understand the people who are like, this is my child.
Yes, and I can't. But I'm like, what would I be like with a human baby? Like I'd be going crazy. And it's just very nice to have something to take care of. Like you have dogs too. It's just like Like Julia was in Joshua Tree with the dog for like 5 days, and I was at home alone. I'm like, what the fuck do I take care of? Like, I have
Like
nothing.
your security blanket.
Yeah, I'm just like, I like walking her in the morning. I like having these little routines. Also, she's small enough to travel. Like, we just put her in a bag under the seat, and she travels with us, no problem. Like, just,
You don't have to like declare that, or you just like kind of doing it on
we
the
give
download?
like her vet information and her vaccines
okay.
and all that, but yeah, she's small enough that she just fits in a bag and it's just a little carry-on kind of thing.
She doesn't have to be designated as like a support dog or something.
No,
like that?
not at all.
Doesn't matter?
As long as she's in her little bag and she just passes out immediately. So she's getting better.
I would have assumed you needed like a permit. Just like, what if the person next to you has an allergy to dogs or something like that? You know?
Yeah, no, they're real loosey-goosey with it. Also, no one would know it was a dog in a bag until they went in there. Kind
True,
of
yeah.
thing. Yeah, she really shuts down. But cons, huh? I mean, yeah, cons are like constantly worrying about her. I'm a fucking huge worry
She
wart.
seems like a good dog, born to be a
She
star.
is a good dog, but she's a street dog. She's a rescue, so she's like been on the street, and like she did get out once. Like we were playing with her in the backyard, and then she got out to the street and started sprinting around the neighborhood, and she's so fucking fast.
man.
And I'm like running and like crying. I'm like,
So
get back
delicate
here.
though if something happens.
Oh my
right?
God.
Yeah.
And there was like cars like zooming by her, and I was like throwing my body in front of cars. And like finally I got her. I'm like holding her and like crying. I'm like, oh my God, I almost saw you die. It was just a fucking mess. And I told my wife, I'm like, I will not be able to handle this dog dying when she eventually. And I'm
not
like,
easy, man.
And
I
I
lost
told her,
mine
I'm
like
like,
a year ago.
I'm syncing my death up with the dog. So we got about 10 to 11 years left of me, and then the vet's gonna inject us both with the
Oh, man.
serum. Like,
I don't blame you. It's rough.
Yeah.
Have you had an animal that you lost in the past?
that's the thing. So many. On a farm,
Oh, but you can already
it's
just-
nothing but animal death. You're tripping over dead animal bodies out there.
And then cooking them up sometimes.
And then cooking them up sometimes. But it's different because it was like my parents buying them and they were the sole owners. And of course, I love these animals, but I'm just like, you almost get desensitized to animal death because you're just like, these are going to fucking die. Like, and then, but then when it's yours and it's your sole thing, I'm just like, fuck, I don't want this thing anything to happen to this thing.
Man,
It's crazy.
I don't know what to tell you. It's gonna happen. It sucks.
I know.
Well, my one dog died last.
Oh,
not the
God.
Christmas that just passed, but the year before that.
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah. And I'm also envious of you when you're like, cons, because I have just this psychopath dog you met upstairs.
Yeah.
We love her, don't get me wrong, and we've come a long way as well, but we had to postpone a trip once because the person we left her with was like, could not handle
Couldn't
it.
do
Within
it.
30 minutes, she had already pissed on the floor and like escaped from the house. And
Oh, shit.
I chased her into traffic like just on baseline here once.
Yeah.
And we both almost got hit by a car.
God damn.
She was a puppy at the time, but she's half husky, half pit bull. So she's a
Yeah.
Pinsky, they call it. And
Jeez.
she's fast and strong and alpha energy, as you saw upstairs. So we're, you know, training her slowly. and
Figuring it out.
I feel like, there's more of a rapport there now than there was even like 6 months ago, where it was I
Yeah.
was at my wit's end and she was like, I'm reveling in your misery or
Yeah,
something.
I
don't
know. It is rewarding when they finally start listening and like training starts working.
You feel like some Karate Kid vibes.
Yeah.
Or something. You're Mr. Miyagi, all of a sudden you've got the wisdom.
you got the
know?
energy, yeah.
It really is an energy thing I
Yeah.
learned with dogs. It's like if I'm, just an anxiety case for my own reasons, adjacent from the dog or whatever.
they
just
pick
like,
it up. Yeah.
Oh, right away. And she especially really wants stability. And that's usually what they say if the dog is trying to
Yeah.
vie for alpha position. It's they feel like you're too haywire or whatever, and they want really calm, cool,
Yeah.
collected.
Well, we just had a trainer come by, and the trainer to my face, like saw us like acting around the dog. She's like, "You're not an alpha to this dog. Like the dog is protecting you
It's not
because."
so bad with the little guy though.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, yeah, I'm a huge
Little gal, sorry.
Yeah, little gal. But I'm just like, yeah, I'm just too soft because I'm melting emotionally for this dog, but I have to be like much stronger now. And I don't want to be, but I guess I have to try.
Sounds like you're getting softer from the dog.
I am getting soft.
Not that that's a bad thing.
I know.
And I didn't know if it was guy or girl because I didn't know if it was a drag dog or.
That's right.
Right?
Somebody asked us in the neighborhood. They're like, Shangela. They're like, is it a boy or a girl? And we're like, well, it could be anything she wants, sir.
She's
Yeah.
puppy fluid. And you're a fan as well of the drag race?
Enormous fan. Never thought in my life, but it was just like peak pandemic. My wife and I just needed something nice to watch. And people are like, watch Drag Race. It's just like the colors are nice. It's just confident drag queens just living it up. And we binged all of them. Like,
And it's
in a
trashy
week.
and catty. And
Hey, it's
stuff, which is
trashy,
very
catty.
enjoyable.
It's got the drama, and it just. we just needed something to get our minds off of everything, and it was just perfect. And then we just kept watching. We watched like every country has
There's a new series like every 2 months or something. It feels like.
Keeps going, and then when we got to LA, all of the drag queens we love are there, so we've like seen them live, and it's just
kind of like wrestling almost, or like
that's the thing,
or Marvel, or any of these fandoms. Like
it's the same shit, and it's funny. It's like I've talked to like some of my gay friends that love Drag Race, and they're like, I've never seen a straight guy so passionately into Drag Race. I'm like, but it's fucking cool, man. I love it.
It takes so much confidence.
Well, they're just the greatest entertainers in the world. They're just like, they have to be comedians, dancers. They have to put makeup. They have to put all this stuff. Like
the winners are. There's definitely some sloppy bitches.
Yes. Not to throw shade or tea.
Well, those were both names of.
No, those are just things you say on Drag Race.
I should say I'm not as avid of a fan, but I was in a similar situation because Kelly is balls to the wall. And during the pandemic, I did watch several series.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not against drag. I respect it in a lot of ways, but I've felt a bit of a fatigue now just with the syndication part of it, like where the cover girl and all the like the repetitive certain aspects.
Oh, RuPaul is just a manufacturing machine.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it feels a little bit
knows
too
how to make
commercial
money. It's very commercial.
The performers, great. I'm totally on board with you there. But yeah, just some of the format I think has gotten to me after a while.
But it's kind of like McDonald's. It's like you go there because you know what you're getting, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I
understand
get it every time.
Appeal. Yeah, I'll still dip in. You know,
like, don't get me wrong. Reality TV show is garbage. It's all garbage. But you're like, give me that garbage.
I think I need it in doses. Yeah, because I'll sort of be like, I'm over that when Kelly's watching, but then I'll be like, wait, who won that dance off or whatever?
Who's fighting? Who's a lip sync assassin?
Yeah, it sucks you in. Like, I'm sure I never watched this one, but I used to always hear about the Housewives.
Yeah, people never watched that. But
I'm assuming it's the same kind of cattiness and drama and soap opera kind of a vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been watching a lot more reality lately, and I never used to be into reality shows, but it's just the world's gone to so much shit. I'm just like, get me out of here. Just get me out of here for an hour.
Tiger King was the original.
That was the big one. Like, that was the perfect time for that to come out. And then you think back, and you're just like, that was terrible. Like, that was.
I mean, I don't know.
It did the
second
job.
Season, I'll give you that, but I really still think that if you've never seen the first season, you're gonna watch the whole thing.
Of course,
at the very least, I dare you to try to watch the whole first episode and not continue the series.
Yeah, well, that came out. We were in a quarantine cabin in Quebec because we just drove back from LA because we're like, let's go back to Canada until the pandemic's
probably a good
done.
time, yeah.
Yeah. And we're like, we'll be up in Canada for 2 weeks, and we were up here for 10 months. So, but that was when we watched Tiger King, when we were fleeing COVID.
Yeah, pretty much everyone did.
Yeah.
I want to switch here and ask you about your facial hair because I noticed you went in the progression chronologically of your comedy. I've seen clean face, then you go full beard.
Oh yeah,
now mustache.
Yeah,
what's next is going to be aggressively long sideburn.
Yeah, just a really long soul patch. I think just long pork chop
or
soul
Fu Manchu
patch,
or something.
Fu Man, anything.
Do you have a preference of the three? You're sticking with this?
I like mustache. Mustache I've gotten the most compliments on. I mean,
it's hard to pull off. I think that's why.
I think so. And it's the beard I got really a lot of people like that because I had it real huge for a bit.
Oh yeah?
Because I thought when I started comedy, I was like, oh yeah, you got to be a piece of shit to be a comedian. I thought you had to be a dirtbag. So I was like, I'll be a dirtbag and just be stupid. Literally, yeah. I had it was down to here. Like it was almost down to my chest. It was huge. And I remember,
that was very in at that time, though, because of Game of Thrones. I remember everyone started growing these gargantuan beards.
And I really think it was the Zach Galifianakis era where they're like, he's a goofy guy. He's got a big beard. He's kind of fat. And I was like, I was pretty overweight at the time and had a big beard.
Oh, really?
And I was like, I
can't picture you as a larger fellow.
At my peak, I was like 235 pounds and just gross.
And now you're like, what, 180 or something?
Yeah, like 175, 180 kind of thing.
That's a huge change.
Yeah, it's but the beard was crazy. And then I started shaving it because I started booking commercials. And then I'd grow it back, and then I'd book another commercial, and I'd have to shave it again. And I'd be like, well, you know what? Maybe I should keep it off so I can make some money off this face and not my stupid beard.
You're not actually the first. I'm just realizing first comedian that I've asked about their facial hair. I asked a similar question to John Doerr because I couldn't find any footage or pictures of him without a beard.
I have seen it. Yeah, it's crazy looking.
It looks very different.
It's very baby-like. Yeah.
You did make a sick Doctor Strange though. I saw that video.
Yeah,
and it worked very well for that.
Didn't really have to do a lot of makeup for that one, but it's funny because I do.
Have you seen that skit, Dad? My dad's a big comic guy. Sorry to cut you off. Yeah, they were doing a whole skit where Blade's trying to convince them like that vampires are real, and they're like, come on, like that's where they draw the line. You know?
Yeah, it's my buddy JB Ball does these sketches for like Kevin Hart's network down there, and
nice.
so he gets these little budgets every now and then. And then I'm like his designated like white guy. It was like, I need a white guy, so like throw me in there kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do
And they
whatever.
had Bucky being overtly racist because of the era
Because he's
from,
old,
and I almost said Black Cap.
Yeah.
But Falcon Cap, I guess
That's
you
the
call
one,
him.
yeah.
He's not having it,
Yeah,
obviously. So, geez, what else do I got for you? I think we're pretty close. Well, I did want to talk some of, I know Julia wasn't able to make it, but send her my regards,
No,
of
of course.
And I did want to ask, I really, really, really thought her Father's Day video was absolutely hysterical. And I don't know her father, but it still had me cracking up. And I wanted to know, since he's your father-in-law, how accurate was that?
100% accurate.
Spot on.
It's also funny that you liked that video too, because we thought no one
It
cared
felt
about
like
it.
a lot of people's dads. Like, not every reference, but it would have been a similar reference with my dad. Just a different band or a different book or you know.
It was 100% accurate, and like he liked it, but you could tell he's like, no, it's a little too close if you ask me.
Are you filming me?
Are you filming me? Because that's
People
literally
have to go watch these. Oh my
It's
god!
literally something he said, because we were filming a sketch in the yard or something during COVID or whatever, and then the camera kind of drifted over, and he was like, "Are you filming me?" And he got mad. He was like, "You better get my permission if you want me in your sketches."
You gotta have a waiver.
Yeah. So,
Oh man, it's too good.
it was 100%.
And this is maybe a little personal, but I saw a stage sketch. I don't know why I said that, or I was thinking that, but stand-up of hers is what I meant to say, where she was talking about how no men buy their own underwear. And is that true?
It was.
To you? You now buy your own?
When we first started dating, it was only Christmas presents from my mom.
That's
You know what
how I
mean?
get mine usually, yeah.
And it was like, I remember like, we first started dating, and like she saw me on my underwear, and it was like holes, and like the elastic was dangling from a thread. And she's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Well, it's almost Christmas. What am I going to buy underwear now? I'm going to
stock
get
up
it
right
at
before."
Christmas." And then so she's like, "Get out." She like forced me. She's like, "Get out there, go buy some underwear right fucking now." And then I did. And I was like, "Oh yeah, this is great. I forgot you can buy underwear whenever you want.
Get cool things on them.
You get anything you want." So
I was going to ask my dad, actually, is that still true of you? Does mom buy yours? You're the one making the Costco trips, I guess. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Costco underwear is good.
I guess we've all made that evolution, but I still have a couple pairs that are, worse for wear for sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're the comfy pair. They're the lucky pair.
That's
you know
what I
what
mean.
Obviously, I'm not talking skid marks or anything like that, but just structural integrity.
You hide
issues.
them away from your wife. You're like, these are my private undies.
Yeah, once they're on, well, I mean, you're hoping to get some, then you don't want to wear them.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you guys meet doing comedy was going to be another question I wanted.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We met at Comedy Bar in Toronto, and I'd known her for a bit, and we'd seen each other, but you're not supposed to date another comedian. That's the whole, that's like any work. You're not supposed to
don't shit where you
shit where you wipe or whatever. But of course, we were just drunk one night, and we kind of started talking, and we just really hit it off, and it just kind of blossomed from there. And that's the thing. We just like really... It was one of those relationships that was just effortless. Like, it was just like all of a sudden we're dating.
That's fantastic.
And everyone's like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, you guys are very similar kind of thing. And then
no other comedian exes in the mix that you had to like bump
no,
into? That's great.
I hadn't dated any comics. She didn't date any comics because you're not supposed to. And even early in the relationship, we're like, this isn't going to last because we're not supposed to be doing this kind of thing. And it just felt
Or you're both wondering what happens if something goes awry, and then I'm going to have to see this person. It's going to be awkward.
Well, it was like, what happens if one of us gets more successful than the other one, and blah, blah, blah. And then when I got my first comedy special at Comedy Now, she was super supportive and the best. And like, when she got JFL, like, it just like, we're not jealous of each other in any way, because obviously we're two different people entirely. So it's not like if she had a mustache and looked exactly like me and booked something, I'd be like, listen,
this isn't going to work.
That could have been me. Like,
no, you just keep propelling each other to
and
do
it's
the best you can.
Every relationship before that ended because of comedy, because I'd be out too long or I'd be on the road or anything, and then like this, like we can co-headline things and be on the road with our little stupid dog, and it's nice.
But that was going to be my question though.
Yeah, we were both wondering,
like doing the grind, right? I mean, because it can't be easy to always sync up all your gigs so that you're at the same place all the time and so together. So there must be times you get ripped apart and you go, okay, this is getting a little old, or
on the road for weeks,
or am I wrong? Does it actually work really well?
It still works pretty well. I mean, bookers are very interested in having, like, it's like, hey, instead of one headliner, you get two for like a little bit more money, not even that much more, and you only have to spend money on one hotel room. and you get 2 people. So that's like an oddly big sell. And then even like if we do tour separately, like it's not for that long. Like it's not like we're going for that long. Like she was
a week or something.
Yeah, like she was just in Calgary before I was, and then we flipped because it would be better pay that way. So she was gone for like 10 days, and then she came back, and then I was gone for 10 days, and then we came to Canada, actually. So that just kind of happened. I mean, after I recovered from the COVID that Calgary gave me. But then that kind of worked out. But,
and you kind of just do like one night somebody's featuring, the other one's headlining, and then you switch on the next night.
Basically. And even with shows in LA too, it's just like they'll book us both because we're both good, and we're like, if one of us goes, the other one's going to be there anyway. And
well, like we were talking about earlier, there's a certain charm to that, the couple thing.
And it's like we go to each other's shows. Like if she's booked on a show, I'll show up and watch and support. And then sometimes they'll be like, hey, there's an extra spot. You can do a spot too. So it's just like sometimes that flippity-floppity happens. Yeah.
Wow. And do you ever have shows where one of you guys bombs and the other one kills?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah. That must be weird.
It's just like... Yeah, well, we know how to treat each other in that because
like, how you doing, champ?
I know, and well, you just can't talk to the other person. If you had a really good set, you can't be like, the show was pretty good. And she's like, you fucking killed. You can't talk to me. Like it's just like you have to be like supportive and understanding. It's just like
because if you both bomb, you can be like that audience, right?
Piece of shit, yeah. But it's like one does, and we've had all those scenarios happen. Trust, it's
I really wanted to come see you guys too, but honestly, I had so much catching up to do after the recent COVID.
Don't even worry.
Last night we came back from my dad's and we saw the exits were.
There was
blocked.
like a protest or something.
We saw a bunch of convoy guys.
Yeah,
I don't really know what they're convoying anymore.
I don't even know it at all.
That's the Dutch farmer support apparently.
Oh, okay. It's not even the same thing.
No, well, it's no farmers, no food. There's something going on over in the Netherlands, and there's apparently either regular farmers in support of the Dutch, or we have a lot more Dutch descended farmers over here who felt the need to get out.
Or just a lot of people who like getting in their trucks and driving around.
Driving slow, yeah.
Because we saw a procession, or if you can call it that, coming up Blair near your place, and we thought they must have been going to get up through Vanier and come down Rideau that way because all the highway exits were blocked. And we talked to someone else who got through on Bank, so it seems like if you weren't coming from the highway, you could still sneak your way up there.
Yeah.
So. But I was very much wondering what they were here for and what was going on.
Well, that's what I just read that in the paper because I'm one of the few people that still reads the paper.
It's a newspaper. That's true.
And that's what they were saying.
Yeah, because we just saw a bunch of trucks with various provincial flags.
Yeah.
And like writing all over the trucks in Sharpie. And
There's a lot of
too
weird
small, you can't even read it.
Yeah. There was a truck I saw in LA. It had a big like Punisher symbol on it with an American flag, which is already
it's been compromised.
But then it said police protection unit. Like it was like people protecting the police. I'm like, oh, shit's about to go down in this country. Yeah.
Apparently Marvel, I had heard they're not using that Punisher logo anymore, and he now has this like samurai ninja type skull that he's using because
because the
Proud
police
Boys
ruined
or
it.
Somebody took that symbol. Yeah.
Wow.
Had you heard that or no? Yeah, I'll show you the symbol after. My dad's a big comic guy, so I'm surprised you didn't know that one. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I had one just random ass question I wanted to ask you. Would you rather die a lonely, mysterious death where no one knows, even if you died for sure, or an infamous, super public death?
Ooh.
Like shot like Kennedy or lost like Amelia Earhart, essentially,
What a fucking great question.
Thank you. I always love to get a response like that.
God, mysterious death is... Because, the other one, they don't know if you're dead.
No closure.
I'd like mysterious death. So they're like, he is dead.
You could be like too cocky about it. Like, maybe you're going to come back.
Because, they still think I might come back, but they know I'm dead for sure. But am I dead? So, like weird death.
It's kind of paranormal and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep people talking about you.
Yeah, I was trying to weigh it out myself. Like, it's either no closure for your family or constant reminder.
Yeah.
If it's like this trending video, like back and to the left.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, too. If you Amelia Earhart, some people are out there still looking for you and you're wasting their time. Yeah. I'm not here to waste anyone's time, but I would like you to keep talking about me.
But that's magical almost. It's like the Goonies treasure or something.
It is,
now, Okay, that's a great answer. We already did my dad's question, so it's just the season 3 question we've been asking everyone, which is either what did you want to be when you were growing up, or alternatively, what would you like to be if you weren't doing comedy right now?
Oh my
or
God.
Both.
It was always astronaut. Oh my God, astronaut. I mean, I'm obsessed with space, and like that would be the number one for sure.
You kind of look like an astronaut. You kind of look like Chris Hadfield or something.
It's funny because I'm like friends with his family.
No way.
Yeah, it's I stayed at his house once. He's got a pinball machine in his living room. Hope I'm not revealing too much about his home. But the funniest part about staying at his house too is like it was in Toronto. Everyone knew that Chris Hadfield lived there, and he wasn't there. But then they would see,
space, obviously.
yeah, he was. I don't know where he was. But then they knew Chris Hadfield was there. But then they would see me exiting, and they're just like, "Whoa, he got tall and weird looking, and he's wearing
Space
Hawaiian shirts
changes
now." Like just seeing a different mustache man exit an astronaut's
so
house. But yeah, astronaut would be the one for sure. I don't even know where to get started. I mean, I read his book, and what a fucking process.
So that's kind of the answer to both those questions. That's what you wanted to be, and that's what you would like to be.
I would like to be. Yeah, I think that's the greatest job anybody can do.
Never too late.
Oh,
it might be too.
And I think I'm definitely too tall, but we'll see. Maybe I can get one of those like Amazon.
When you shrink or something when you come back from space, you shrink a couple.
You
inches?
actually stretch out.
Oh, it's the opposite. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
because there's no gravity pushing you down, so all your organs get all fucked up, and you stretch out.
Your bones get all thin though.
Bones get thin.
Yeah, you get brittle, I guess.
Yeah, you get bonitis.
Yeah, they always have to be like put into like a lazy boy or something when they first come out of
they
the
just,
capsule.
They wheel out a hot tub, and they're like, "In the hot tub, astronaut, please relax."
That's got to be a trip, man, going to space and just looking down on the Earth.
That's what I mean. Like, what else
Realizing
is
it's
bigger
flat.
than that?
No.
Yeah, can you imagine? Oh my God, getting all the way up
The
there, and
ice
you're like,
wall.
shit, they're there. Just seeing a giant alien with a boom mic over the flat Earth, and you're like, God damn it, this is not what I wanted to do.
Man, that was a fun way to end this. I got to say, I
Yeah.
got nothing else unless you want to plug anything?
Oh my God,
For
yeah.
my limited but dedicated viewers, I want to say.
Do not go to my website.
You will not find the info there.
Yeah, Matt_O'Brien on Twitter and Matt_O'Brien on TikTok, and then Matt O'Brien on Instagram. That's where all my stuff is.
That'll all be on screen. Cool.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Well, thanks so much for doing this, man. I really had a great time chatting with
This
you.
was fun. Thank you so
Do a
much.
high five at the end here. Boom.
Bam.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.